Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another video. As you can see, we're outside in the garden because the weather is just too nice to be indoors. When you live in the UK, you've got to make the most of this outside weather. So here we are, outside in the garden. And for those of you new here, my name is Ketan. I call myself that day-to-day guy, and I'm just a normal guy living his life and sharing some experiences along the way. Last week's video was a watch video that I did, and it's my most viewed. Prior to that, my P&O Cruise video was my most viewed video, and then last week the watch one just kind of went a bit nuts for my standards anyway. So thank you for everyone that watched that. No pun intended, but there you go. Today I'm wearing my No Time to Die Seamaster because it's brown, and as I said in my last video, I like to match my watch to my outfits. But today's video is a little bit, I want to use the word sensitive, you know, kids or no kids, very simply entitled. And anyone that knows me will know that I don't have kids myself. I'm 47 years old, and the reason I'm kind of putting this stuff out there is because if there's anyone else out there that's in a similar position to me, man or woman, and is at a, you know, of a certain age where you start to think to yourself that, you know, life is passing me by, maybe sometimes a different perspective will help with the way that we think. I say we collectively because, you know, we're all in the same boat, let's face it. When I was younger, and also this is another thing as well, a bit of a disclaimer, everything I'm going to say is obviously from the perspective of a middle-aged man. I do not know what it's like to be a woman, and, you know, obviously the stereotype is that women have more maternal instincts than men have paternal instincts. So therefore, you know, from a much younger age, women are conditioned to, maybe naturally they feel like, you know, they want to be a mother, and that's great. But equally, so do we, or at least so did I. When I was younger, I was adamant I wanted to be a father. So growing up, when I was dating or, you know, meeting women or whatever, I remember one specific girl I was talking to, she didn't want kids. So I was kind of like, well, this is not going to work then, because I definitely want kids. This is in my late 20s, early 30s. But as I grew older and stayed single for longer, when I passed the 40 mark, at that point, I started to go the other way, in the sense that I don't want kids because I'm 47 now, I'm almost 48. So by the time I meet somebody and have a couple of years with that person, I'm going to be 50. And when I'm 50, if I have a kid at 50, let's say, for example, you know, typically children reach a certain level of independence by the time they're 20. So I'll be 70 years old. And I don't like the sound of that. I kind of like my life the way it is now. And I'm at a point now where I'm middle-aged, let's face it, and starting to have these tipping point conversations in my mind as to, like, is it too late for me to do that? Is it too late for me to do this? I'm at the point of, you know, where not that life goes downhill, but you naturally do get older. You know, you start to think about retirement and so on. But fundamentally, I know that I've still got another, you know, let's say another 20, 30, 40 years to go. So technically speaking, I could have kids. Do I want them though? No. And when I say want kids, I'm talking about having my own children, you know, starting from scratch. So what happens is, and there's a number of reasons why I don't want them. A, because I've been on my own for so long that I like the idea of life on my, not the idea, because it's no longer an idea, it's a reality. I like my life the way that it is. You know, I come home to a tidy house, I've got a tidy, clean car, and that's obviously the surface level stuff, right? But at times, there's also things which are lacking in life. And the whole reason behind this video is to, as I said, give a different perspective and not romanticize certain situations. Because when you get to a certain age, or you want something in life, you tend to put that thing on a pedestal. So like having kids, it's like, oh my God, you know, I want kids, I want to be a dad, blah, blah, blah. But you also have to recognize there's going to be some things that are going to come with being a father, being a parent, that you don't have to tackle if you're single. And it's important to have a balanced perspective on these things. So, like I said, you're not putting something out there and putting it on a pedestal and making, it being the almighty, holy, thing that you have to absolutely do in life. My brother's got kids. My brother's got 3 lovely kids, 13-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 7-year-old. And they are like my children, they're like my kids. They are, when I go around there, kids get excited, they come, they give me a hug, and they love me. And I know that. I know they love me, and they're intelligent enough, I don't want to use it, emotionally intelligent enough to show me that they love me. And it's nice. But there are always times, there's a really funny one actually, because I watched the other day Happy Gilmore 2, and there's a scene in Happy Gilmore 2. So in that film, if you haven't seen it, Adam Sandler, 2 of his daughters are in the movie. One of his daughters plays his actual daughter, another daughter plays another character in the film. At the end of the movie, there's a scene where him and his daughter that isn't playing his daughter, if that makes sense, are sat in a room next to each other and just having a little exchange. And the daughter looks at him and says, "You know what? You remind me a lot of my dad." And that really kind of got me emotionally, because I thought to myself, what a beautiful moment there, like father, daughter, having a little joke, having some banter. And I thought to myself, man, I'm never going to get to do that. And in that moment, it did make me feel a bit sad that I'm not going to have children. But at the same time, then I thought to myself, hold on a second, like I can have that moment with my brother's kids. And in order for me to have that moment, I'm going to have to give up this. And I kind of thought to myself, well, it's not really worth it for me. But again, go back to the point, circling around, going back to the point of where if you put something on a pedestal, you're going to sometimes you're going to make bad decisions to even rush and get there as well. So let's talk about, as a man, obviously as a man we can have kids when we're older. This is a real convoluted thing now, and I'm going to carry on talking with my train of thought. Obviously as a man, you can have children at a later age, but for me, I know financially, I don't want to carry on working for X amount of years. So therefore, that's why I've kind of said to myself, I'm not going to have kids. Even as a woman, you've got the biological clock, not the financial clock or the, working business clock, shall we say. You've got the biological clock. But sometimes what happens is there's some decisions you make in life which have an immediate impact and it can be changed. But there's some decisions you make in life which have a permanent impact and a permanent result, if you will. So having a kid, for example, is a permanent action, is just going to give you a permanent outcome. So you can't change that after. Well, you can, but you know what I mean. And broadly speaking, you can't change that. So it's very important to, if you put something on the pedestal, what happens is you start to make bad decisions to get to that position, to get to that place. And then you get to that place and you realize that not that it's not all cracked up, it's not what it's cracked up to be, but what you tend to realize is there's a whole bunch of other drawbacks that have come with that you didn't think about. So, being single, the benefits are, forget being single, being childless is the best way I can describe it. The benefits are I get to come to clean house and go out when I want, go on holiday during school term time, etc. And obviously these are surface level things. But what it doesn't do, what the drawbacks of that is, I don't have anybody to pass my things onto, if you will, they talk about legacy or whatever, or to teach things to. I don't have anybody when I come to the front door, walk into the house. There's no kids that are coming running excited to see dad. This morning I saw a video on Instagram of this little girl running to, as soon as the dad's car pulls into the driveway, she runs to the door, gets out of the door and runs to the car. And it's really cute, And obviously I'm never going to get to experience those things. But if you're really honest with yourself, and this can be applied to any aspect of your life, if you really honest and you think about the benefits something brings and the drawbacks something brings, you'll find they're always equal. They're always balanced. So there's nothing wrong with your life the way it is. It's all a matter of perspective. You know, by all means, aspire to get to certain things, get to certain places. And if you want kids, happy days. But if you don't, if it doesn't work out, don't berate yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't give yourself a hard time. You know, I don't want it to come across in this video that as an I don't like children. You know, I love kids. My brother's kids, my cousin's kids. I'm super close to all the kids in the family. But I've just chosen myself that I don't want to take on the role of being a parent myself. So yeah, I hope that makes some sense there. And if anyone's in the same boat as me, you know, this I apply to every other aspect of my life, whether it be my work life, whether it be my, you know, relationships and so on. It's very important to be aware of the benefits of the situation that you're currently in. So you're not chasing this thing, this one-sided view that you have of wherever you want to get to. You know, a relationship or a child isn't going to complete you. It's not going to, you know, fix a void that you may think you have. Because when you get that, it's going to come with other challenges. And that's just the nature of life. When you get something, it comes with other challenges that you never thought about. But if you start to think about it in that way, when you start to think, if I pursue this, I'm not just going to get these benefits, I'm also going to get these drawbacks. And am I willing to deal with them? Because believe you me, with positives come negatives. So don't fool yourself into thinking that there's any outcome that is only positive. Yeah, I think pretty much sums that up. And I spoke about this in a previous video about romanticizing, you know, relationships and being okay with being single. When you get to my age, you kind of never been married, never had kids, so you start to question yourself, you know. And having children is also not. So many stuff, your Facebook algorithms will show you all sorts of articles depending on your situation in life and depending on what you click on, right? But reading something about having a child doesn't guarantee that you're not going to die alone. Sounds really morbid, right? But there's no guarantee that your kids are going to take care of you. So some people are like, oh, you know, we have kids so they can take care of us when we're old. And I'm like, well, why don't you just take care of yourself? Like the focus, if that's the only reason you have children, that's a bit pointless. Just channel that energy on being more, you know, financially better off, so you can pay to take care of yourself. Like you can't put that kind of pressure on another family member, on another human being. It's not their responsibility to take care of you. Our responsibility is with ourselves to take care of us. You know, and anything anyone else does to help us is a bonus. So yeah, it's a big decision to have a child, and sometimes it does happen accidentally. And when it does, you know, even accidentally though, it's still more often than not accidental, if you know what I mean. Yeah, like you made the decision to be arguably sometimes irresponsible, sometimes it actually is a complete accident, but yeah, you know, that's pretty much it, I think. I kind of feel like I've ended somewhat abruptly, but the point is, I hope some of the stuff I've said makes you think about the situation. If you're in a situation like me, and sometimes you think to yourself, I haven't quite gotten what I want out of life, especially on the children front, I hope what I said gives you some sort of perspective to make yourself feel better about the situation. Don't go rushing into the wrong relationship just to have a kid, because it's never gonna end well. So yeah, I know this video is not going to do anywhere near as much as a watch video because we live in a fickle world. But you know what? This is my channel, and if you're a watch fan that's got this far, thinking to yourself, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Then feel free to unsubscribe. But if you like what you've seen and you like the content that I put out there, like and subscribe. And I hope that I can carry on in delivering this more content, because I've been doing this since February. Every single week I've put a video out, and it's interesting. It's fun making the videos, and because I'm not doing this for any commercial gain, you know, I don't really give a crap. So, yeah. On that note, ciao for now, and we'll see you next week.